A friend calls a friend, and they say, you know, Bob, President-elect Trump would like to meet with you to talk about how he can better reach out to the African-American community. And I said that's a positive sign, so I accepted the invitation. We had a great chat. I'd say the most important thing that came out of the meeting, he and I agreed that, if you recall, during the election, he talked about what do African Americans have to lose. And I said, you know, President-elect Trump, the real question you should be asking is, what do African Americans have to gain by your presidency? And he said, you know, Bob, you're right. We should talk aspirational, and I'm willing to talk about things that you believe are important for African Americans, and I want to have that dialogue with you. And that's what we talked about. And,
you know, we've had all of our conversations over the years, and, you know, you're a private sector guy, and you've unbelievable entrepreneur and companies that you've built, and you certainly like when the environment is better for a vibrant private sector. Would you characterize your meeting with Donald Trump? Were you expressing concerns, or was there a degree of wanting to work together to try and really get this economy back over 3% again?
Hey, Joe, it was exactly about that. We talked about things, what I call business solutions to social problems. I didn't get into the political stuff that they talk about. For example, we talked about repatriation. And if you're going to repatriate capital back to the U.S., why not have, as part of that, a program where tax credits and tax incentives go to companies that invest capital in the urban markets, or invest capital with fund managers who know how to invest and grow urban markets. We talked about the retirement system, where billions of dollars is being leaked out of the retirement system for working class and minority Americans, where if you had a Labor Department support on something called auto portability, which simply means your 401k follows you where you go, and you're not tempted to cash out and lose the retirement upside as well as pay taxes on it. And we talked about, for example, encouraging companies to hire more minorities, to do business with the more minority companies, sort of a variation of the Rooney Rule, which I call the RLJ Rule, which focuses on making sure that minorities, both for jobs as well as for suppliers, are hired. So we were really focused on the business issues. And, you know, President-elect Trump is a business guy, and I think he's going to tilt towards finding the way to use fiscal policy and his own efforts, knowledge as a business guy, to move the economy forward for jobs and economic growth.
These are hyper-partisan times, obviously. And, you know, I've seen articles being written that there are certain members of the political class that they're using the word normalize for Trump. They don't want anyone to even normalize Donald Trump. So just by acknowledging he's president and going to see him, I would imagine you could come under some criticism. I've seen others come under criticism. And as far as, you know, some of the protests and what's behind the protests, whether it's, you know, the racist accusations to the people that he's appointing or whatever, what would you say to in this atmosphere right now after meeting with them? Is there a lot to fear for minorities and immigrants and everything else?
And, you know, Joe, I've known President-elect Trump for some time. I knew him when I was running BET, and I've seen him at a number of events. And it's my conclusion that we can find common ground with the Trump administration. I know I had a great dialogue with him, with his son-in-law, Jared. And I've known Reince Priebus. You know, so my approach to these guys is, look, I don't look at you as enemies. I don't look at you as necessary friends. I look at the question as I have, on behalf of African Americans, I'm talking about we have permanent interests. That doesn't mean that one day we will not support you or one day we will support you. And I think that's where the African American voter should be. This is something that a member, Congressman Bill Clay of Missouri, said when the Congressional Black Caucus was founded. Black Americans should have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interests. And I think with the Trump administration, that's the philosophy we should take. We should not lock ourselves in one part or the other. And I'm a Democrat, and I say this with all due respect to the Democratic Party, and I say it to the Republican Party. This country needs somebody who's going to lead it, not somebody who is going to sort of force us to choose sides. And if President-elect Trump believes that he should be talking about what black Americans have to gain, as President Obama said and as Hillary said, let's give him a shot. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and see if we can find common ground. And I think that's the best interest of African Americans.